Audio Jungle.
Hello and welcome to Logged Into Terrorism News. I'm Connor Bean. A previous blog post looked at how certain aspects of terrorism have been manipulated through web and mobile communications, specifically propaganda, recruitment, and the facilitation of attacks. Today's format is very different, as the investigation turns to look at what web and mobile communications have created for terrorism, which is cyber-terrorism. Cyber-terrorism can be defined as the politically motivated use of computers and information technology to cause widespread fear or severe disruption. Cyber-terrorism can happen to anyone, even you. It could be on a personal, organisational, or even a global scale. The creation of cyber-terrorism from web and mobile communications has created a self-contained weapon in which terrorists can use from their own home. And by doing this, it has developed a new battleground, which makes all online users vulnerable. Indian Home Minister Rajnath Singh claims that cyber-terrorism is the biggest threat to society at the moment, claiming that it's multi-layered, multi-locational and multicultural, going on to state that it's almost impossible to capture and investigate these criminals, or in this case terrorists, because it's all done on the web. Over at Logged Into Terrorism on Twitter, which you can find us at @LoggedIntoTerror, this article was retweeted. Alongside this, a poll was created which asked you, the audience, if you thought cyber-terrorism was the biggest issue to society. 17% of you said yes, whilst 33% of you said no. However, alarmingly, 50% of you were unsure if cyber-terrorism is the biggest threat to society at the moment. Logged Into Terrorism strives to ensure you know the ins and outs of how terrorists are negatively manipulating the online world. This is why this investigation was taken further, as we decided to interview some of our readers and ask their opinions and feelings towards cyber-terrorism and how they've been affected by it. Do you think cyber-terrorism is the biggest social issue at the moment?
No,
Have you been affected by cyber-terrorism?
not directly.
In what ways?
I don't think I have been affected by it directly because I've never suffered the effects of terrorism in my own home or country.
Do you think cyber-terrorism can be stopped?
No.
Why?
Because we haven't found a way to police the internet yet, really.
Do you think cyber-terrorism is the biggest issue in society at the moment?
I think it's certainly one of them. It's not necessarily the major issue at the moment.
Have you been affected by cyber-terrorism?
Personally, no, but the company I work for has.
In what way?
Due to phishing scams, our Twitter account was hacked, and Facebook as well.
And do you think it can be stopped?
No, I don't think it can, to be honest.
Why is that?
I think it's too technically difficult to try and isolate every form of cyber attack that can take place.
To help you understand a bit more, let's investigate what types of cyber-terrorism attacks occur on a daily basis. Social media is a hacker's favourite target, as there are more than 1.6 billion social network users worldwide, with more than 64% of the internet users accessing social media services. This probably includes you. These attacks come in all sorts of ways, including link jacking and like jacking. Like jacking is, say, when you click on a Facebook like button or a Twitter follow or retweet button, and actually redirects you away from the current site and forces you to download vicious malware which will compromise your personal data. The main way is through phishing, which tries to acquire your personal details such as usernames, password, or credit card information. This is done through disguising messages on sites such as Twitter and Facebook, which may seem trustworthy, when incidentally they again direct you away from the site and tell you to input your data, which then is compromised as it's not on an encrypted server. One of the biggest organisational cyber attacks, and Forbes claims it as the hack of the century, is the 2014 Sony attack. It all sparked from Sony's film The Interview, which depicts two American journalists attempting to assassinate North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. North Korea saw this as a form of terrorism, and later an attack was carried out by a group called the Guardians of Peace, in which they released thousands of Sony emails that contained embarrassing and personal information about celebrities and Sony employees. The FBI have concluded that North Korea orchestrated the attack alongside the guidance of peace, which shows that anyone or even any country can do a form of cyber-terrorism. Public transport is also vulnerable to cyber-terrorism, whether it be planes with flights being grounded or even cancelled. We may see radars being disabled, which could lead to more plane crashes. In the future, the driverless car may be susceptible to cyber-terrorism, as it could be reprogrammed online and therefore its destination being changed. This could lead to more accidents on the road and putting millions of lives at risk. One of the biggest cyber-terrorism attacks at the moment is Russia hacking the Democratic National Committee during the American election. Valuable emails were leaked and published online. Many Democrats believe that Vladimir Putin was to blame for Hillary Clinton's loss, and that Russia actually took out these attacks to ensure Donald Trump won the election. At this current time of filming, the United States has expelled 35 Russian diplomats from its country. This is due to the hacks that took place. So what can you do to prevent cyber-terrorism? Remember to be vigilant online and be careful on what you're clicking on, so you don't download any vicious malware. It may be wise to educate yourself further to really understand how these attacks are thoroughly carried out online. As a precaution, it may be wise to download some antivirus software to prevent any vicious malware infecting your computer. The next Logged Into Terrorism post will be from Facebook Live and will take place shortly after the new year. The post will look at the 4 topics previously discussed and look at ways to counter these online forms of terrorism on both an organisational and personal scale. Be sure to check out our Facebook and Twitter pages, which links will be down below, and make sure to read the blog. Thanks for watching.